Hey everyone, Dan McKenzie here with McKenzie Law Firm. We are an estate planning, estate administration, and small business counsel law firm in the Denver, Colorado area. And wanted to make a video today talking about what a personal representative or a trustee do. And these are really critical positions in any estate plan, and whether you are putting together the plan or being asked to fill one of these positions in someone else's plan or being asked to serve in one of these positions for someone who has passed away, it is probably the most critical part of the whole thing. I always tell people that choosing the right people to do the various tasks that need to be done is probably the most important part of doing an estate plan or administering an estate, more so than the specific instructions that those people receive, because even when someone receives instructions, they have a lot of decisions to make about a lot of things. And so having the right person is just critical, because even with a very vague plan or no plan at all, a good person can do a good job, and a bad person can really mess the plan up. And so within an estate plan, probably the most important position is who's going to be your personal representative. And if you have a trust, who is going to be your trustee? And both positions kind of require the same skills, and so people who have trusts usually pick the same person for both those positions. If you just have a will, you're just picking a personal representative. So the thing to keep in mind about the whole estate planning or estate administration thing is that there's a few different phases to it. And one of those phases is, okay, once I've passed away, I have assets that need to be collected and distributed. I may have bills that need to be paid. I may have a tax return that needs to be filed. So all these things need to be done before assets can actually be distributed to family members or charities or whoever is going to receive them. And that phase happens under the guidance of a personal representative or a trustee. And again, if you have just a will, it's your personal representative. If you don't have a will or no plan, and your estate is going through an intestate process, you still have a personal representative. And even if you don't have a probate process, assets still need to be collected. It's just that it's done without court supervision. And so you still have a personal representative, and that person still has the same duties and obligations. They just need to do it without necessarily a court overlooking what they're up to. So these positions are fiduciary positions, and that's critical to understand. In the law, the fiduciary is kind of the highest level of duty you can have to someone. Okay, so if I am out in the world, if I'm purchasing a service from somebody, if I'm negotiating a contract, if I'm any situation where I'm dealing with someone, most of the time it can be expected that I'm going to be trying to do things in my best interest. So if I'm trying to buy your house from you and we're negotiating a sales contract, you kind of expect I'm going to be asking for things that are to my benefit and to your detriment. So I might ask for, certain things to be fixed. I might ask for inspections. I might ask for various concessions to be made about when I can move in or when you're going to move out or all those kinds of things. And it's like I said, everybody involved in that process understands. I'm speaking for myself. I'm trying to get the best possible deal I can get. When you are a fiduciary for someone else, though, you cannot operate in that fashion. You have to operate in their best interest. So if I'm serving as your personal representative, and let's say you're the beneficiary of an estate, I'm the personal representative of that estate. I need to administer that estate in your best interest. I can't do things that are just for my interest. So if I'm trying to decide, if I'm a beneficiary of the estate and the personal representative, and I'm trying to decide who gets one particular item that everybody wants, be very careful about giving it to myself, right? I mean, that's sort of a conflict of interest there. Or if there's different assets, let's say there's some real estate, there's some stocks, and then maybe some cash, who gets which of these? I am expected to deal with everybody fairly and loyally and not play favorites, even if I'm one of the people involved. Maybe especially if I'm one of the people involved. I need to be very careful about putting everyone else's interests ahead of my own. And so it's a big deal. When you're a fiduciary for someone else, you can be sued for a lot of different things, and innocent mistakes are among those. So if I go out and I am collecting assets and I make a mistake that causes some sort of tax obligation to arise that would not have otherwise arisen. And let's say I do that under the advice of a CPA or a lawyer, so I've gone out and done my best to try and make sure this is not, that there aren't any mistakes made. I still could be held liable for that, even though I went out and was very careful about that. Because again, my duty to you is the highest level in the law. And personal representatives, trustees, they are the ones that are responsible for going out, finding the assets, making sure they're collected, moving diligently, making sure that assets values are maximized. Again, let's say I've got a house to sell. Let's say the estate contains a house or the trust contains a house. I've got to sell this house, get the proceeds out to the beneficiaries, and maybe I'm not really interested in putting forth a lot of effort into it. Maybe I'm looking at this and thinking, oh, this is kind of a lot of work to get this house sold. I'm just going to go ahead and I've got a friend who's trying to buy a house here. Why don't I just sell it to them and, we'll save some money. My friend will be happy. We'll get a good deal. And that will be great for everybody. Again, got to be very careful about that. Really got to put forth my best effort to make sure that the value of that house is maximized for the beneficiaries and not just convenient for me. And then dealing with creditors. Again, a lot of people, when they're thinking about estate planning or estate administration, they're very focused on the family and who's getting what. So the will might say, divide everything equally among my kids. And they're kind of focused on, okay, how do I do that? Well, there's other people involved in this process too. And those are people that the person who passed away owed money to. And any bill that shows up is a creditor claim against that person's estate and needs to be dealt with. And doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be paid, but they need to be sure that they're resolved in some way that everybody agrees to. And one of those creditors is usually the IRS. There's usually some sort of tax filing due at least once, depending on how long the estate takes to administer and whether it's earning its own income after the person passed away, dividends on stocks, interest income, rental income from a rental property. All those things can keep producing income after a person passes away. So the estate or the trust may have its own tax return. And so again, making sure that those deadlines are met, those are filed, there aren't any late fees assessed, there aren't any penalties or interest assessed that would have been avoidable if the fiduciary had been on top of things. Again, personal representative, trustee, they need to make sure that all this is being done correctly. So it's a big job, and again, it's a lot of liability. A lot of people kind of think, well, this is some sort of honor I'm bestowing upon a close friend or my oldest child or something like that. It's like, no, it's a real skill set, and it really is something that takes some real diligence, some time, some skill, some thought, some study. And so if you are a personal representative, if you are picking a personal representative or a trustee of a trust, this is your biggest decision probably. And if you're being asked to do those things, you really need to respect that you're taking on some real duties and some things that need to be done, and you need to proceed with all due caution. So if you are trying to pick a personal representative, if you've been asked to be a personal representative, if you are operating in the Colorado area and would like to have a conversation about any of this, we are happy to do that. We are the McKenzie Law Firm, and our phone number is 303-578-2745. Thank you.